Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I am going to be sharing with you my top 5 foundations from the drugstore. I am so excited to finally share this video with you guys and to upload another video in my Best of the Drugstore series. I started this series a couple of weeks ago here on my channel when I talked about my top 5 mascaras. If you guys want to go check it out, I will have it up here as well as in the description box down below. Ever since I uploaded that first video in the series, I have been so eager to film more of them. I have just kind of been wrapped up in working on other videos and my 10,000 subscribers giveaway and stuff like that, but today I am finally sitting down to film my top 5 drugstore foundations. Foundations are definitely that thing from the drugstore for me that are my favorite to test out, my favorite to try out new ones. I always get excited when I see new ones come out in the drugstore and I'm able to go grab them. I have something in here for every single skin type, so whether you are oily, normal skin, normal to oily, dry to normal, whatever your skin type may be, there is definitely going to be something for you in this video. And there's also like a little bit of a price range depending on how affordable you want to go, or if you want to go a little bit on the higher end of drugstore, like $12, $13, around that price point. So there's definitely something for everyone. If you guys want to see a more condensed version of this video, definitely make sure to go check out my TikTok. I did a fun little TikTok over there on my top 5 foundations, but today we're going to go in a little bit more detail. I also tried on all of the foundations for you and all of that good stuff. So I hope you guys enjoy seeing this video, and let's just go ahead and get started. As I mentioned in the intro, I did go ahead and try on and apply all of these foundations for you, just so you guys can see how they apply, the different shades of them, the blendability, the finish, and everything. Just a little disclaimer, the application is not perfect. My skin was getting a little bit irritated halfway throughout the try on, just from like taking off foundation, putting on foundation, constantly wiping my skin and applying. So I tried my best to make the applications as nice as possible, but my skin was kind of over it like halfway through the try on. And then also with the try ons, a few of the foundations that I'm talking about today, I only have in my winter shade. So some of them look a little bit funny, a little bit, actually a lot a bit light on me. I will go ahead and point out which one is which, although I'm sure you guys will be able to tell which ones do not match me at all, but I still wanted to go ahead and try them on. I hope the shades of some of these aren't too distracting. So the first foundation is Maybelline's Dream Satin Liquid. This is one of my favorites, as are all of the other foundations in this video, but this is such a beautiful foundation. I feel like the name is very true to how it looks. It has a gorgeous satin luminous finish on the skin. In some places, this is still Dream Satin Liquid. In some places, I've been seeing in my local drugstores that this is now reformulated to the Dream Radiant Liquid, and it is in a little bit of a different bottle. From what I've been reading about and from what I've been seeing online and stuff like that, the formulas are the same. Both of these formulas are very hydrating, and they both are formulated with a hyaluronic acid hydrating serum, which I know hyaluronic acid is an amazing ingredient for those of you with dry skin. But honestly, even if you don't have very dry skin, I still recommend this because I'm not super dry and this foundation works beautifully on my skin. You guys are going to see upon application, it just has the prettiest way of almost absorbing to be one with your skin, and it really doesn't look like you're wearing foundation. As far as the coverage goes on this one, it's a solid medium coverage. I would say it's a light medium coverage. I can go ahead and build it up to do a second layer if I want. So I also showed you guys in the application one cheek with 2 layers of the foundation on, and then one cheek with just 1 layer of the foundation. And I definitely feel like that second layer makes a difference. You guys know I like my coverage, but I don't always want a very heavy, very full kind of glam look to my skin. And this foundation, the Dream Satin Liquid, just gives me that perfect in between light, dewy look to the skin, but I still get coverage. It's not super sheer. Literally every single time I wear this foundation, I get so many questions. Oh my gosh, what foundation is that? What foundation are you wearing? I feel like sometimes it's hard to find that in between of healthy and lightweight and dewy without sacrificing the coverage. And this Dream Satin Liquid, now known as the Dream Radiant Liquid, definitely gives me the best of both worlds. And for shade reference, if you guys were wondering, I wear this one in 20 Classic Ivory. My next favorite foundation from the drugstore is one that was raved about a ton here here on YouTube. I talked about it a lot on my channel when I first got my hands on it, and that is the L'Oreal 24-Hour Infallible Freshware Foundation. In the try on, you guys are going to see this is definitely the one that is the lightest on me in this whole video, just because I have this in the shade 420 True Beige, I believe this is called, something like that, but it is the number 420, and it is so light on me because I absolutely love wearing this foundation in the winter time. It is definitely, this one and the previous Dream Satin Liquid that I talked about are definitely my ideal type of foundations for the winter. They're very dewy, they make my skin look nice and lively. I would say that this foundation is definitely, again, suitable for those of you with dry to normal skin. Really great for those winter months, but it is also nice for the summer if you want more of that fresh, dewy look. This also has SPF 25 sunscreen, which is great protection in the summertime as well as all year round as well. I hope you guys can get past the color on this one because I know it's really off for me right now, but this applies really smooth and easy. This does have a pretty strong fragrance to it. Definitely has a perfumey smell, but once this is applied on the skin and I kind of set it down and everything, I don't smell that fragrance anymore really at all. It's not something that lingers throughout the day. I don't tend to smell it, and also coming from someone who has sensitive skin, neither the SPF in here or the fragrance bother me or give me any sort of reaction. This foundation I also find to be very lightweight but also very buildable. You can get any sort of complexion that you kind of want with this foundation. I find that there are days where I'll take a really damp sponge and just lightly apply this all over the skin for a very light, fresh, and dewy look, but there are some days where I want to wear this a little bit more intensely, get a little bit more of the full coverage that this foundation offers, and I am able to build this up to be pretty full coverage as well. One last thing about the Freshware foundation, I would definitely say this is more of a daytime outdoor foundation. Because of its very dewy finish, because it has the SPF 25 in there, you are going to get flashback with flash photography. I definitely don't recommend wearing this to an event, prom, wedding, when things like that kind of start to resume and everything like that. I would avoid wearing this for like nighttime flash photography situation, but it's perfect if you're going shopping, if you want to put on some foundation to go to like an outdoor barbecue or something. This is a really great option. Next up, I'm going to be sharing with you my favorite foundation ever. If you guys take anything from this video, this is definitely the foundation that I recommend the most, and I'm sure all of you guessed it already because I talk about this non-stop here on my channel, and that is the Maybelline 24-Hour Superstay Foundation. Out of all of the foundations that I'm mentioning today, this is the foundation that I believe is truly great for all skin types, no matter if you're very dry, normal to combo, or if you have very oily skin. I know so many people with different skin types that have used this foundation, and it's amazing. I'm sure you guys, if you are like loyal followers, if you watch a lot of my videos, you might be tired of me talking about this foundation here, but this foundation just has the most incredible way of being very full coverage but looking natural on the skin. I don't know how they did it. I am not questioning them because the formula is perfection, and I really hope that Maybelline never changes it, but it is just the perfect mixture of natural finish yet full coverage at the same time, and I honestly would get rid of all of my other foundations just to keep this one in my collection. That is how like die-hard fangirl I am for this foundation. I have this foundation in 3 different shades because I love this foundation so much. I need it ready to go no matter what time of the year it is. So in the winter, when I am at my lightest, I wear the shade 118 Light Beige. When I have just like a little bit of a tan kind of coming out of the winter going into the spring, early summer type of months, and maybe even I would say the fall when we're coming out of summer and my tan is starting to fade, I go for the shade 120 Classic Ivory. And then right now in the middle of the summer when I have the most tan, I'm 130 Buff Beige. So those are the 3 shades that I wear in this foundation for reference. As I said, I just always have to make sure that I have a shade ready for me at all times. It is just my perfect foundation. This is definitely the foundation that I would wear on my wedding day when I do get married if I don't find anything better, which I think it's going to be hard to top this. And I think it speaks a lot when I say that this would be my wedding day foundation. It looks amazing in pictures. There is absolutely no flashback, and there is not a single bad thing to say about this. I've purchased tons and tons of them, and I feel like this is going to be my number one for a very, very long time. The e.l.f. Flawless Finish Foundations is another one that is in my top 5 from the drugstore. This is a really, really nice foundation. It's definitely something I've more recently discovered. I believe I tested this maybe around April when I did a full face of e.l.f. Cosmetics. I purchased this for that video, and I actually think this is a really great foundation. Honestly, when I first got this foundation, I didn't have the highest hopes for it because I hadn't really tried any foundations from e.l.f. previously. And then of course, as you guys can see, I have so many other foundations from the drugstore to compare it to, some of which, like the Maybelline, are just my heart and soul. I love them so much. But I was really pleasantly surprised with how much I liked this e.l.f. Flawless Finish Foundation, or Flawless Satin Foundation. I've seen the foundation being called both names. I think they're kind of transitioning from one name to the other, and they kind of have some overflow of the old name. But I did think this was a really pretty foundation, especially for those of you that have more oily to normal skin, or normal to oily, I guess I should say. This is marketed as an oil-free foundation, of course, making it more intriguing to those of you who are already oily that don't want to put anything else with oil on your face. And this definitely does have more of a matte finish. As you guys can see, when it's going on the skin, it does have like a slight kind of glow to it, but I honestly think that's just the primer that I used underneath. I did start all of these applications off with a little bit of e.l.f.'s Poreless Putty Primer, which does add a little bit of a glow to the skin. The finish on this foundation definitely is more matte. It claims to have a satin finish, but I think this just leans a little bit more matte than satin in my opinion. It's kind of like a semi-matte, where some parts of my face tend to look a little bit more matte than others. I do think in some instances this can be a foundation that would cling to my dry patches a little bit, and that's why I'm recommending it to those of you with normal to oily skin. For summer, I love this foundation. It gives a really solid medium coverage. I love how it looks on the skin, and it really makes the skin look flawless. But there is one little con about this foundation, and I know that this might not bother everyone, but this does have a very strong fragrance, and it does tend to linger. It's not like the L'Oreal Freshware that I mentioned, where the scent kind of goes away throughout the day. This is a scent that I do kind of smell all day long, and it doesn't give me any sort of reaction, but once I smell it, I can't unsmell it. And I actually still smell this foundation even though I wiped it off. I still kind of smell it like in my nose or around me. It just has a strong scent, almost kind of like baby powder. So that is the one thing that kind of turns me off from this foundation. So I guess with certain foundation, it's like you give or take certain qualities about it, but overall I think this is a really good foundation, especially if you have more oily skin. And the very last foundation that I have to mention in today's video is Milani's Conceal and Perfect 2-in-1 foundation and concealer. This foundation got so much hype everywhere on the internet when this first came out. I believe this came out maybe 2 or 3 years ago now, so I'm a little late to trying this out. I first tried this out when I worked with Milani on a video back in December. As far as pricing goes, this foundation retails for $10, and you get a standard fluid ounce of product, which I believe, I'm just double checking now because I didn't touch on any of the ounces or anything in the other foundations. All of the other foundations that I mentioned in today's video have a fluid ounce as well, besides the e.l.f. foundation that I just mentioned has 0.68 fluid ounces. So a little bit more than half of the ounces and milliliters that come in the other 4 foundations that I mentioned that I'm talking about today. But with that being said, it is also only $6, so you're getting less, but you're also paying a lot less for this foundation too. I haven't worn this foundation in a while. Again, this is very, very light on me right now. You'll see in the application. For shade reference, I have this in 01A1 Nude Ivory, but this is too light on me even in the winter, as I mentioned, so I definitely want to look into another shade. This foundation is going to be absolutely perfect for you if you guys have very oily skin, if you want a very strong matte finish, if you do have redness in your skin, maybe if you're more acne prone and you just have more that you really want to cover up on your your face, this is definitely the foundation for you, because that hybrid foundation and concealer just makes this incredibly full coverage on the skin. It's a pretty thick formula and it has a very strong matte finish. This foundation totally mattes out the skin. This does not have like an ounce of luminosity or dewiness or anything like that. So I don't get a ton of use out of this foundation, but I still wanted to include it in this video because I do think it's a great option, again, for those of you with very oily skin, if you're more acne prone, if you're just craving that very heavy matte coverage. This foundation claims to be waterproof. I can't really touch on that. I have never tried it in that sense. If I had this foundation back in high school, I have a feeling I would have been obsessed with it when I had more oily skin, more acne. But not only that, I feel like it used to be very trendy to be as matte and as full coverage as possible. This foundation definitely falls into that category. The only thing that I will say is that it can be like a little drying feeling on the face, but again, I guess that depends on your skin type and what you're used to. It says that it's lightweight, but I wouldn't say that. I think this is one of those foundations that you're going to wear when you want it to look like foundation. It just looks really flawless. Again, it is just that glam, super glam and matte foundation that I just love having that option in my collection. All right, you guys, so that is going to complete today's video. Those are my top 5 drugstore foundations. I really hope that you guys enjoyed seeing this video. I am so happy to be finally putting this out there because, as I said, I just love drugstore foundation so much, and these 5 are just my favorite that I've tried. And again, I hope there was something in here for all of you. I really tried to put something for each skin type in today's video. That's everything. I really hope that you guys enjoyed seeing this video and spending time with me today. If you did, and if you want to see more drugstore videos here on my channel, and if you want me to continue this best of the drugstore series, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps me out. Also, make sure you guys are subscribed to my channel before you leave. I would love to have you guys here as part of my little YouTube fam. If you don't want to miss out on any of my future videos, click that notification bell down below and you'll get notified every single time that I upload a new video. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.